consistently had the best, or at least one of the best benches in the league this season. I know you credit a lot of that to the talent that you have, but what is the coaching element of getting the best out of your bench?
Well, playing them, trusting them, giving them minutes. There's no, that's the biggest boost you can give them, biggest confidence builder you can give them, and we trust our bench. I think we played 10 the whole year, sometimes 11, and when you do that consistently, they get better as the season goes on, and they build confidence. So we'll continue to do that, finishing out the season.
Obviously, you guys want to be winning games, but I imagine that, a lot of us in the media were talking about the streaks, right? And the focus for you is probably less on the streak and more about the principles and how you guys are executing. So from that perspective, does it become a distraction at all when you're just trying to focus on the how you guys are winning games, or how do you see it?
No, I mean, we don't talk about the streak, or like it's not. Oh man, we got to get 15. It's not the mindset. The mindset is, our playoff focus and hammering those principles. And we have to close out the season that way, and I don't think we can take our foot off the pedal. But just keep hammering those principles that we think they're going to translate to playoff success. That's where we are right now. So I don't think the other stuff is a distraction at all. Not with our group. Serena, it's a hungry group, right? I told them this morning, like, how they came out against Milwaukee was phenomenal, right? Like, just our mindset, our defensive mindset. Everybody was ready to play, and there was no slippage in terms of focus, and you could argue that game, you could relax a little, or take your foot off the pedal, but we just keep going. I expect us to do the same tonight.
Coach Donovan was added to the injury report this afternoon for a groin injury. Can you talk us through that injury and if he'll be available tonight and when it happened?
Yeah, I think Charlotte, there was a little tiny bit of soreness. I think that's when it started. Definitely not something huge. Not a huge deal. But I think we are on the side of caution. But he always wants to play. He wants to try. Warm up and see how he feels tonight. So.
For this entire season, since you got here, it has been all about the playoffs, and you guys have had a historic season. You got 54-10, a lot of streaks, all these other things. But when it comes to the playoffs, how important is it for this team, how it's constructed, how much you guys have worked to get to this point? How important is success in the playoffs for this team?
Listen, I mean, that's what we're paid for. That's what we're here for, right? It's the ultimate goal. We want to play well in the playoffs and keep going. Taking another round. And we're just kind of in that mindset of that's what's most important. Not discounting the regular season at all, right? But you have to build your habits, and you have to keep getting better, and that's what this regular season has been about. But I was just thinking the other day, like the Detroit Lions, right? Like I said, they had a great year, and then they lose in the playoffs, and it's like after the game, I think the coach was like, it's a disappointment, right? Big disappointment. We don't want to be there, so we're focused, we're locked in. It's got to come though, right? We can't like create these simulations like, oh yeah, let's simulate this. We gotta have the teams in front of us, and we gotta try to knock them out.
Dan?
Kenny, what do you appreciate most about Jaren Allen?
The person. I think that always stands out first. Person, and then the teammate he is. And I guess the third thing is he's coachable, right? When you have those characteristics, that's part of our winning, right? He's a big part of it, and selfless beyond, beyond necessary. It's always, even when I take him out of the game, it's like, man, always positive, always, the next game will come out and have a great game. So, and then, the talent is enormous, and just thrilled how much better he's got at his passing. Since I coached him, that was might have been something. Man, you got to really work, kind of his decision making in the pocket. And I mean, he's throwing some passes. And I think the other night he threw the lefty hook pass. Was that against Milwaukee? Like just kind of no look to the high quadrant, and I think we hit a three. He's just he's part of the big four, right? There's no question about that. There's not big three. There's a big four. He's a big part of it.
How rare is it to see that kind of selflessness in a player of his caliber?
I mean, yeah, because he's in a whole nother stratosphere, right? Like he's so humble. So those guys, they're rare because it's another level of humility, and just love being around him every day. Wonderful, wonderful person.
Joe?
Similar with what Ethan was asking about Donovan, was there an injury play with DeAndre?
Was there a what?
And, did he get hurt on a play?
No.
Hunter?
Illness.
No, his illness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there'd be an illness. Okay. For all 30 teams, every year, there's some point in the year that's difficult. There's a trying time.
Yeah.
When do you think the Cavs' trying time was this year, and how did you come through it?
What did we have a 3-5 stretch? Was that it, or 5-3? I don't even remember. Not like super trying, like we had that small stretch, like very small stretch, but nothing where we were, like concerned or alarmed, or we got to change the lineup, or I think some of it was schedule related. I think Evan went down for a little bit in that stretch, so there's never been kind of, oh man, is this are we an excellent team? Has never gotten to that point. Now, when we played the OKCs, the Bostons, and you take one on the chin, and that game in OKC, those are more the ones for me where you're like, how do you measure up against the best teams? Those are the ones where you take stock and you learn from them. But there hasn't been not anything close to crisis or man, we got to change things up.
So then I guess just to continue the point, when you get tested for real in the playoffs, that'll happen. What do you know about this team that makes you feel like they'll respond to that test?
Listen, every test that's been put in front of us, I think we've done a darn. What are we batting? 98%, right? A few stumbles, so we're going through it, and this team went through it last year, right? Like, man, that Orlando City Game 7. It's not like we're a green team, or a team without experience. We have we got a ton of experience. We've had some huge games this year. We'll continue to have huge games, playing on national television a lot. So we're accumulating a lot of experience. So, but you don't know till you're in the thick of it, and it's deeper in the playoffs, and you got to get big wins on the road. That'll be down the road. We'll see how we respond, but I'm very confident in this team's mental toughness.
Yeah.
Kenny, tonight's not the first time you've referenced just how hungry, how driven this team is. How early was it for you that sank in? Was it even before training camp when you talked to the guys, or at what point did you realize how hungry they are?
I think 15-0, like that, right off the bat. Because 6-0, 7-0, and then you could stumble after that, and we just kept going, right? So that was really this team's not letting up. We didn't really have any let-up games. Obviously, 15-0. So man, then it's this team could be really special because again they have not let up. They continue to push it. That Milwaukee game, I was just really proud of just our mentality. This is a little bit of a grind time right here, and it's 16 games left to go, 15, you're fatigue and all that, and quite honestly, the grind, the boredom of the season, really like it it can wear on you, and our guys hasn't been any slippage, but.
And with playoff time approaching, can that be a fine line, that desire to win, that hunger to win versus execution? Like you can't keep your eye off the execution aspect of it?
I mean, you should be able to do. You need both, I think, and I think you need that kind of, that desire, that motivation to get over the hump. Excuse me, and then obviously you need the composure to execute. And listen, we've demonstrated that all year. Like we have both. We have the mental and physical toughness, and then we have great composure because we got our leaders are that way, right? We're not a panic team. They know what they want to get to. They know when they need to get stops. And I'm just ready for this thing to get. I think we're all ready, man. Let's finish this out strong and get going with the next step.
Last one, Jim.
Kenny, I watched your introductory presser from Brooklyn today.
Man, you really have nothing to do. You really.
I was struck by how nervous you seemed, as opposed to now you seem
Yeah.
so comfortable in these settings.
I was frightened.
Yeah. Okay. So what sort of nerves / uncertainty go into a first time coaching game?
Oh man, that's you really, because the hardest thing about being an assistant in the NBA, you can't really practice to be a head coach. Like there's no like reps. Like I can't go in a flight simulator and say, hey, So you're preparing as assistant, but it's the old cliche. You go over that. You just don't have experience. You don't have experience with the media. You're not doing practicing press conferences. You're not doing you're not leading practices, leading meetings, and until you're thrown into it, you don't know. And I always say, man, that first year I didn't know what I was doing. I just had to learn, and then that's why, I think they always say like second time around, you're a better coach. I mean, for me, it's not even close. I feel much more comfortable in my own skin.
So I was just gonna say, you mentioned I think the first time these guys came here, how much you've changed about being able to delegate and all that sort of thing. But how much more secure do you feel in your coaching identity? If you call it that. This time around?
I mean, I think when you're a first time coach, you're searching. You have your thoughts and ideas, but you're searching for that identity. I think later on in Brooklyn, as I got, we got to that playoff that third year, I started to know. That's when I really started like, okay, I can coach in this league. I know what I'm doing. I kind of know what our identity is. And then the second time around, I was much more comfortable just coming in the first day. Yeah.